Okay, for this video, it's just going to be, I think, a quick pack opening. Um, I splurged and got some gems and then a bunch of packs to follow, so I wanted to go ahead and do 50 War the Spark pack openings because this account that I have is going to be, I don't want to say dedicated to getting all the War of the Spark rares, but I'm about 100 short of like 4 of everything, so I like War of the Spark, so we're just gonna try and make a set out of it. So, alright, let's get going. 10 at a time. Hello, Niv Mizzet. You are not the mythic I want, nor are you, Borgod. Oh, I hope I don't see that Borgod again, because we're getting them in when it updates and everyone gets their decks. Please don't open the Borgod again. Give me Nicol Bolas, please. Well, there's two mythic wildcards. Can't complain. Bontu, don't have him yet. I hope it doesn't give me another hybrid. That's my fourth Nissa. Come on, can I get a Dragon God? Yes, I can. There he is. Dragon God. Woohoo. No repeats. Karn. Double Oogie, double Karn. Double Oogie, double Karn. Oh, double Vivian, too. Jeez, okay. This is a double wave. Alright, last one. Hello, Teferi. And a mythic wild. Not bad. That's pretty good. Was that 3 or 4 mythic wild cards? 1 rare wild card, Nicol Bolas. Not bad. Now, let's go and check our inventory, shall we? Let's see. Not collected. Not collected. War of the Spark, mythic and rare. Got an Advocist, finally. And Ignite the Beacon. I can't remember if I had that before. Got Oketra. Still missing Revelation. I might just have to craft that. There's a Jace. Let's see. Bontu. Wow, low on the Arcanists. Let's see. Let's see. Borgod. Don't want any more of those. I'm wondering if I shouldn't. I think I might just hold off buying more of the Spark packs until after the update. Finale. Nissa. So that's 2 mythics I'd need to craft to have everything. I got no Dreadhorde Butchers. Woohoo. Ugh. Another Dragon God, yay. I got the, what is it? The Essential Bolus bundle. And that's why you're seeing all the Bolus bundle alternate artworks for Bolus and whatever the heck else there was. Collected, not collected, Word Spark. There we go. Like, commence the end game and whatnot. So, still missing Finale of Revelation and Devastation. I was hoping to get a 4th feather. Oh well, didn't do that. Well, this was a good experiment because there's good news with this. That's interesting. See, I wasn't sure. I mean, I had a good feeling from previous experimentation, but oh shoot. That hybrid better not be in the deck. Actually, let's find out right now. Let's find out right now. I don't think I'm actually pretty sure he's not, because the mythic is the Hydra. Yeah, the mythic is the Hydra, not anything else. So, we're good there. I don't know. I may as well talk about this now, because, you know, any video under 10 minutes, hell, any video under 20 minutes, they just aren't videos like mine, are they? So let's go ahead and get into this. Number one, this confirms something that I already kind of suspected. I mean, I could be wrong, but it seems unlikely. And that is, it would seem that the update that made it so that if you pull a rare, that's a rare you already have, you get gems instead. But from what I'm seeing, I could be wrong because I haven't maxed out all of my rares, and I'm not spending gems on packs again. Just not doing that. Um, it would seem as though if you have four of something, at least for rares, I'm not sure about mythics, but if you have four of something, it seems as though that won't drop. Something that you don't have four of will drop before then. Um, so that's good to know. That'd be interesting if that happened with mythics. I don't think people would really care because if you max out, like if you have four mythics already in a set, you're probably like it just wouldn't make any sense that you'd be buying from that set because if you have four mythics, you probably have one of every other rare, or not one of every other rare, four if not close to four of every. Like me here, I got four hybrids. Unfortunately, good lord, what a terrible card. But you know, if you're what I was getting at was if you have four of a mythic in a set, you probably have a large number of rares from those sets, which means you should be going and getting rares from other packs. Like you have a big enough rare pool from a certain set. So it's like even if they did it that way to where your mythics, like if you had four of a mythic but you didn't have four of every other mythic, so you couldn't that mythic would no longer drop, so you wouldn't get that 40 gems to your account. Um, it really doesn't matter at that point. I don't know. That's all I got. It's more of an impact that if you have four of a rare, that you don't see that anymore. Because keep in mind, if you're spending 100 gold on a pack, and you get, I'm sorry, not 100 gold, 1,000 gold on a pack, and you get 20 gems because you had a friend of wolves here drop when you could have had an Ajani drop. Since you had four of one card and you get a 20 gem drop instead, that's 1/10 of what that pack is worth because it costs you 200 gems per pack, and it's like it's pretty pitiful. So I'm not exactly sure why they decided to go that route with what's it called? Why they decided to go that route with the multiple drops? Like the easier solution would just be I don't know. I don't know if they already had a system in place where it was once you had four of a rare, it wouldn't drop again until you had four of everything else. Like that would just be out of the pool of potential drops. It's weird because why would people care about like if you're maybe they just revamped the entire pack system completely, which would be great. It would be a very consumer friendly move that if you've got four of something that it just doesn't drop and so on and so forth until you have literally four of everything. But at the point at which you have four of everything, it no longer makes sense to be buying that pack. You see what I'm saying? What mythic are you searching for, and why don't you just spend the wild card to get it? And even if you don't have the wild card, spend the gems or the gold on the pack that you don't have things maxed out at, because most of the time, according to the popular opinion on mythic drop rates, 7 out of 8 times that pack is going to be a rare that you've already had, so you will have gotten 20 gems for a 200 gem worth pack. You're getting 10% of what you put into it, so it's a weird system. The only way to make it not weird is like if I'm just flat out wrong, um, which I could be, but I mean, look at the rares I've gotten. Let's see, got one. Geez, I don't really want to count the rares, but let's see how many rares I do have max. I got one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 rares maxed out on. I'm thinking at around 50, so I've got a third of these rares maxed out. I feel like, especially with all those 50 packs that I just opened, And a set of 10 packs I opened up, way later on. Um, I'm just. I feel like if these were able to duplicate and you could get gems as a rare drop instead of a rare you don't have four of, I feel like it would have happened already. So that's my opinion. Wow, third Gideon. I can't believe I had a third Gideon already. I guess I'll go ahead and talk about. I don't know what I want to talk about here. I guess. Shoot. I guess in the video I'll just do three quick links. One talking about my, you know, the beginning is opening packs. One talking about. Do I want to talk about the guild battle here? No. No, let's talk about something else since I went ahead and was talking about the bolus bundle because I'm fortunate that I got this before the update happened because they really screwed a lot of people out of cosmetics that they were considering buying with this update. Because if I let's go to the July 2nd update. Whoops. July 2nd update. Whoops. For MTG Arena, that would help. No, I want to see the notes. Where are the patch notes? Not state of the beta. Scheduled maintenance? No. 27 days ago. Here we go. Here we go. Bundles leaving soon. Proliferate, Chaos Aggro, Castastic, Amass Power, Bolus, and Guild bundles. I would have remembered, as I'm sure a lot of people would have, if this date was actually posted in these update notes. Because a lot of these bundles, a lot of people were probably holding off on getting, like myself. But again, I got lucky and under the radar before it actually went off, because I didn't know this was happening. It was just random chance. But people are pissed off about this, about the bundles that have left soon, because not only did bundles leave because a lot of people are thinking that this got like stealth edited, because a lot of people, including myself, were just like, there was no way that that date was actually there. It just said leaving soon. Like they changed that at some point, and people just felt really like screwed out of whatever they might have been holding off on, because it wasn't directly like there wasn't enough forewarning mentioned that all this kind of stuff was going. The last we saw, it just said leaving soon. Hell, I'm not even sure it said leaving soon. It might have just they might have just edited this in entirely. But anyway, that's beside the point. People are ticked about that. What people are also ticked about is several styles are no longer sleeve styles. Several sleeve styles are no longer available. Jace is one of them that I know is missing, and I forget the other ones, but they just decided not to give any warning about specific sleeves that they were planning on taking out of the store. And I don't know how to feel about all this, because it's very odd that they would create such a negative image for themselves by removing things without proper, if not any, when we're talking about the sleeves here, notice at all. Because, like, I don't know how to put it into words. Just hopefully they learn from their mistakes, because a lot of people are pissed off. And the only thing that they've said about it is just, don't worry, guild bundles will return soon. And it's like, okay, so that's implying that that one thing will come back to the store eventually, but everything else, they're just gone. All right, Wizards, if that's the way you want to play it. Honestly, I think they need to take back everything they took out and learn from their mistake and be like, okay, well, clearly, when we release like state of the beta articles that are telling people what changes are coming up, we need to put in what's going to be leaving the store. And if they want to take it even further, make it so that the things I've seen these suggestions on Reddit, make it so that the things in the store that are leaving, when there's like a week before an update's about to happen and something's leaving, start a timer, start a countdown timer for like if these Liliana sleeves are about to leave, or the Karn sleeves, or just anything. Start a timer that says, only available for X number of hours, and then it'll be gone. That would be really be going the extra mile, that really pro-consumer mile, because what's happened is, people. There are two ways of looking at this, like stealth removal of things, whether it's where there's like technically um, warning that things are about to leave, which was the article I was showing you, or the patch notes rather of the July 2nd patch notes, which a lot of people just aren't convinced that that date was actually there. That said they're leaving this date. Um, so, one of two things has happened here, where it's just one, someone dropped the ball and they just forgot, or they're just not very competent over there at Wizards and the arena staff and just dropped the ball on a bunch of things. Or two, they've tried to adopt this new system of making it so that because of this update, maybe people will start to be like, have more of a fear of missing out if they don't buy something right away, which is just, neither one of those outcomes is good. Because in the first scenario where it's people just dropped the ball and were being stupid over at Wizards in the arena team, um, and that can still be rectified, but I don't think they're going to rectify it, because the way you make that right is you bring back everything for like a week that you took out, or people feel that they weren't properly notified of. Literally just put everything back in the store for like a week. Make an update next week. Give people a week to be able to use it. Test out that new system of perhaps putting a timer on things that are leaving the store soon, since they're only going to be there for a week anyway, and just allow players the chance to grab that then and there. But I don't think they're going to do that, because that's too smart of a move and would take, too much effort. The effort someone would have to put in for, like, let's say a job. Can't be doing that all the time. Um, and then you've got the second uh, possibility, which is them trying to get people to experience more of a fear of missing out if they don't buy the things. And that's just like, how many negative end user experiences can you throw into a single game to where it's just you don't know when stuff's going to leave? It's just, I don't know why anyone would have thought that would be a good idea. Like, if that's what they thought, if that's what they actively thought to do to their player base, like, they're even more disrespectful to all of their customers than I even initially thought. But, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's the people just dropping the ball. Maybe it's that first scenario. But again, you fix that by rectifying your mistake. You fix that for mending the damage you've done to your community and fixing your own self-image, because, and I guess that's really the best way and the only way to go about it, is to bring back everything for like a week, because you only have those two options. You have the option of people dropped the ball and made a mistake, or you have the other option of you've decided to make people be afraid of missing out if they don't buy it right now. And it's like, neither are good. So if you don't take that first option of, oh, well, we can still fix this, we can bring everything back for like a week, and implement a newer, better system to not shaft people who maybe wanted some cosmetic upgrades that are no longer going to be there anymore. And if you don't take that, then it's just going to look like the latter, which is, oh, we want people to, by making this artificial exclusivity, we want people to drop money without actually announcing if we're gonna, be taking out these Sahili or these Teferi sleeves. We want them to drop the money without actually knowing. And it's like that is so disrespectful to your customer base, and it is not the route you want to be taking, because it's like I'll probably do another video on this topic, but it's like what I just heard about the judge program being changed up, and basically the change is if you want to be a judge, you have to pay not Magic or not Wizards, but like a shell corporation that's like it's not controlled by Wizards, but it obviously is for legal reasons, and you have to pay them to be able to judge, and it's just there are so many things that this company is doing that's I don't even want to say like flushing it down the toilet, because it's like modern companies like to exercise this what's the word I'm looking for, or I guess practice this exercise of what can we get away with and how much of it can we get away with, because they're doing all of these things that are negatively impacting their game and negatively impacting their customers, but they're not going to change if people's buying habits don't change in a negative way. And for the most part, they won't, because I guess they figure, all the changes that they're doing, as long as their net coffers are higher, they're going to keep doing it. And that's just, I won't get into that ramble because it's a big ramble, but it's like, where is your soul? Like, where's your morality? Where's your moral compass? It's like they're so far removed from everything that doesn't have a dollar sign attached to it. And it's upsetting to see companies go down that road knowing that in all actuality they won't change because they won't be forced to. And it's like, there was someone who commented in one of my other videos about how, whales, something to the effect of whales, and how they're, responsible for how many people there are actually that are in the pool of whales. And I was explaining to him some kind of law of large numbers. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's where the square of a group is responsible for 50% of the work or the effort or the money or whatever. And in my example, I said, there's 10 million customers. The square of that is going to be responsible for 50% of the revenue. So 50% of the revenue that MTG Arena gets is a pool of about 3,200 customers. And I don't know where I was going with that exactly. Just the fact that, oh no, I know where I was going with that. It's the same thing with like how a company eventually becomes this bureaucracy, where let's say you start out small and you have 10 employees for a company. Well, the square of those employees are going to be responsible for 50% of the work, and so that's about 3 to 4 people that are responsible for half the work, or end up doing half of the work. And it's like, okay, that's somewhat reasonable. You expect that. Well, let's say you 10 times that multiple of how many people in your company. Got 100 people in your company. Well, now 10 people are doing 50% of the work. And just that exponential growth of how much of the work and responsibility is on a select group of people, it's the reason why bigger companies, I mean, we hear the term too big to fail a lot, but really that needs to not be thrown around, because companies need to be able to dissolve into smaller parts so you can keep that from happening. And I think that's the direction that Wizards is headed in, and because they're so huge of a company, it's hard to see them failing, because their IP is so strong. It's hard to see them really crumbling anytime soon. So it's like, in the meantime, we just have to put up with whatever bullshit they put out there, because it's like their collapse isn't imminent. It's gonna take a while for them to completely fail, and in the meantime, we just have to deal with the bullshit practices and announcements and changes and updates they put to the game, and it just is going to be the way it is. I know none of us really want to see them die, but we also kind of do, because it's like you're doing all these things that are objectively wrong, but they clearly have a certain level of blinders to them, to where it's like they can't see it for themselves, so they're going to keep going until they drive themselves into the ground. And it's like, Will they drive themselves into the ground? Yeah, going at this rate, but it's like, I guess it's double edged because it's on one side of the sword you've got this um, idea that it's going to take what I just said earlier, which is it's going to take them so long to run themselves into the ground that they're going to continue to be able to make these bad, objectively poor decisions along the way because there's no incentive to change course yet, nor will there be for a while. However, the flip side of that is it gives them just as much time to try and change things and to try and you know steer off into a better course at some point. But until then, it's kind of like we just have to put up with it. I listen to some other MTG YouTubers, and one of I'm talking like MTG Lion, Desolator Magic, and even some from the Magic Historian, where they're I'm trying to not sound too politically divisive talking about this stuff, but they talk about a lot of the downturns that Magic seems to be taking, and that a lot of it is just like extreme kind of leftist thinking and like favoritism to just leftist ideology. And it's like the reason that this is relevant to what I'm talking about is because take in mind that the square of a population is responsible for 50% of whatever it is you're measuring. And you could kind of see you could see that happening where the larger and larger company gets, if it just so happened to be, it's an equal chance of, let's say extremist right-wing conservatives not taking control of a company, but just like power kind of accumulating to the upper part of it. And if that just so happened to happen with Wizards, where it's just a lot of leftist thinking and ideology, and how that seems to be dominating kind of their decisions, their hiring practices, their game practices, whatever you want to call it, it's entirely possible. And that's why kind of the dissemination of larger companies into smaller conglomerates is important. So you keep that um, kind of you keep that very you keep the narrowing of the number of people that kind of get into that upper bracket. You keep that smaller. So it could very well be possible that Wizards of the Coast, hasn't been taken over necessarily by any kind of far leftist thinking, but just that as the company has grown larger and larger and larger and larger, and the what's the word? Not the pool, but the proportion of those in charge of the decision, like the big decision making, has gotten smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. You'll have It's natural for kind of the most extremist ideas to dominate that decision hierarchy. And, it's a toss of the dice as to what that could be, but that's just kind of an example I feel that could be for, what people feel may or may not be dominating kind of how they're deciding to go about things. And, I try to stay, I'm left moderate kind of, I try to be. So I try to see the sides of everything when I can, and it's not ridiculous. So that, you know, it very well could be what's happening at Wizards, and it's concerning because you've got two things going on, maybe three, maybe I'll think of a third, but you got two things going on. One, you've got the direction that this behemoth is headed in that a lot of people are clearly unhappy with, but where there's not enough of a behavioral deterrent to try and find a different way of going about it, of going about growing your company, of going about making right decisions versus wrong decisions. So you've got that going on where that's just going to continue. You've got you've got number two, which is the byproduct of that, where they're just going to keep making those bad decisions, and as players, you're just going to have to keep deciding, do you keep supporting it? Do you quit? Do you stop giving them money? Like, how do you navigate how to go about a hobby that you've enjoyed for a while, but that are where the leadership is clearly taking things in the wrong direction, at least on some objective level. And then I guess the third element that I talked about before, where it's just we gotta kind of just accept it as it's happening because there's no real reason for them to change anything, but also maybe be hopeful that because there's such a long time before they effectively run everything into the ground, there's that much opportunity to change course. Who knows? Maybe it is. I'm kind of going on a political tangent here, but maybe, and then I'll wrap it up, I guess. Maybe it is a matter of like extremist thinking one way or another. In this case, maybe it's leftist thinking. Who knows? Where, um, maybe the 2020 election will come up and we'll actually get rid of Trump. And as a result, instead of 4 more years of not even an extremist right winger, just a friggin' clown in the office, instead of having another 4 years of conservative agenda, maybe we'll have 4 years of a liberal agenda, and there won't be as we can expect a huge backlash from the right, but maybe the left will just chill a little bit. I don't know. And then maybe that kind of thinking will change how they do things at Wizards. Who the hell knows? I'm just, again, it's a political rant. So, um, all that to say, one, I hope you enjoyed the pack opening. Two, the removal of so many things, especially guild bundles. The fact that they removed, like, all 10 of the two-color guild bundles, like, for what? Like, people, those would seem to me to be pretty good sellers, because whether you're a mostly free-to-player or someone who dumps a lot of money into the game, you know, guild decks are the most popular decks above anything. I mean, this is a dumb thing to say, but above anything mono. But mono anything is the budget version of Magic. And the step up from that are two-color decks, which are guilds. And it's like, the fact that you took out all 10 of those bundles, that I'm sure, like, people will naturally, their first step above the budget decks is going to be, you know, the two-color combination that's their favorite. And maybe they'll dump money in that two-color combination build for, whatever the avatar of that guild is, and then also some sleeves, which I think they took out too. I can't remember how long it's been. Did the sleeves come with the guild bundles? Yeah, the sleeves came with the guild bundles, I'm pretty damn sure. So the fact that they took that out is just beyond me. Like, for what? Like, you don't even... I can barely scroll away from Mu Yanling over here, and it's not like... How much space does your store really take up just keeping them here? Anyway, I'm getting off topic and rambling a whole lot here, so I'll just cut off the video just saying, thanks for watching the pack openings. Hope you enjoyed me discussing the stealth removal of just a lot of things from the store that has pissed off a lot of people, and hopefully they just do the smart thing, which is bring everything back for a week, try a new system of removal that lets people know what's leaving and when actually in the game, and that's the best way forward for them. And again, the I guess tertiary topic of the video, since that's not pack opening or here are things that are removed, is just hopefully they do that with the bringing back the things and implementing a new system of when things leave, but also wondering if they will, because of how big Wizards is and how invincible they feel and how on some level they kind of are. So it's like, I don't know, you hope that they make the right decisions, but in all likelihood they probably will continue to not, and that's just the way it is. That's all I got. See y'all later.